Page 3. Setting a proper motivation. Which consists of 3 parts. Whether the practice, to what extent this practice will be of benefit, will be determined by your motivation. So the setting of proper motivation makes the whole difference. You have fish feel what to visualize and how to visualize. Visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, particularly here, the land where the Buddha Shakyamuni became enlightened. The since King Ashoka's time, then all these great masters such as Arya-Nagarjuna, Bodhisattva Aryadeva, and Arya Sangha, Acharya Vasubandhu, Acharya Chandrakriti, then the Bodhisattva Chandrakshita, Bodhisattva Shantideva, then Acharya Dharmakriti, and the Lama Dishadipanga Rishi Jnana, and today His Holiness the Dalai Lama. All these great enlightened beings, they all paid respect, and this place is blessed by the Buddha Shakyamuni, blessed by all the great masters. So we just invoke all these great masters. Somehow we are connected with for our attaining enlightenment, and that too, that they exude such love and affection towards you and all the sentient beings. And Bodhicitta field, visualize your two kind parents and all your dear sentient beings, including your children and all the human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, hell beings, god and goddesses, spirits, leaving them aside. And here you are like the mother and all others are like children. And imagine that you look at each one of them with so much love and affection, to the extent that each one of them feels themselves as so special in your eyes. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken this extremely precious yet hidden treasure, the Buddha nature within us. And why it is hidden is that it's obscured by the mental defilements. We need to get rid of the mental defilements to awaken, unveil this treasure of the Buddha nature. And how to remove the mental defilements? To know that, we need to know the nature of the mental defilements. And the mental defilements are of 2 kinds, the gross and the subtle. The gross, referred to as the afflictive obscurations, and the subtle, referred to as the cognitive obscurations. And the gross one, afflictive obscurations, is of 3 kinds: contaminant karmas, afflictions, and the active seeds. And these are all somehow connected with the self-grasping ignorance. And to get rid of this, we need to resort to a very powerful remedy. The remedy is none other than the wisdom of emptiness. So with this very strong desire of bodhicitta to activate this wisdom of emptiness, let us say the prayers together, and imagine that you are leading this practice, and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're watching us, and all sentient beings are joining you. Page 3. And to by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And to by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And to by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. By my accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanye Jola Zogi Jonam La Chanjo Bardo Dani Kyapso Che Age Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Jola Penjir Sanye Rubare Sho Sanye Jola Zogi Chonam La Chanjo Bardo Dani Kyapso Che Age Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Jola Penjir Sanye Rubare Sho Sanje Joda Soge Chonam La Chanjo Bardo Dani Kyapso Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Drola Penjere Sanje Rubare Sho. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the Supreme Lama, all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all lead here seeking pacification to complete peace, which through the knowledge of paths, causes of helping migrators achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps subdue and expound varieties of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teachers, guide and protector, to you are my restorations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you the Buddha I make restorations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Datagato Hyavatat Desham Chayo Nirodham Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Datagato Hyavatat Desham Chayo Nirodham Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Dathagato Hyavatat Desham Chayo Nirodham Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata, the cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-line and non-composite, such as the nectar like Dharma I have discovered, finding no one who can fathom this teaching in silence I'll return to the words. Beyond utterance in thought and expression is a perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. Is an object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom, to you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times of the essence. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dhamma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativity, nor does he remove the miseries by his hands. His spiritual realization has not transferred them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries glow. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. page 14. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, page 14. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, Nur of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one, endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you pace out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, flame that blazes in the 3 worlds, wind of the Lord you are prostrate. With a supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you are prostrate. Thusly like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparable wise one, to you are prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies are prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, wholly feel qualified with realizations, or devoted to the moral precepts, are prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is a teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of a dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through this merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the 4 faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness and death. Okay, Heart Sutra, page 29. Heart Sutra, the Perfection Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the irretrievable gem, and thus did I hear at one time. The Buddha was dwelling on Masa of Valsha's mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of a profound illumination of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara: how should any child of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom train? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composite factors, and consciousness empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composite factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element and so on, up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering or origination, cessation of the path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in perfection of wisdom, a mind without obscuration and thus without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the first times also manifest a complete awakening, unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mother of the perfection of wisdom, the mother of great knowledge, unsurpassed mantra, mantra equal to the unequaled, mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Yatha Om Gade Gade Bara Samgade Bodhi Swaha. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Buddha arose from their concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you indicated, even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Buddha having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharitpatiputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara, those surrounded in the entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras and gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Buddha. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Swahatyatha 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 Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Swaha. By the teachings of the three supreme jewels possessing power of truth, may in and out and hindrances be transformed. May they be dispelled, may they be non-existent, may they be pacified, may all negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified, may the host of 80,000 of seals be pacified, may we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma, may all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma, may auspicious and perfect happiness pervade this place now. Okay, 8 verses of mind training. Okay, today we'll read 3 principal aspects of the path. Where is it? 3 principal aspects of the path. Page 78. Page 78. Okay. So this is a very important text again, composed by the same author, Lama Tsongkhapa, the great teacher, enlightened one, 14th century great teacher, and the 3 principal aspects of the path identified as renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness. And a single-pointed meditation is included as a part of the wisdom of emptiness. So because the wisdom should have the 2 qualities. One is the sharpness and the other one is the stability. So these 2 things are put together, making it 3. What are they? Renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness. The 3 things. These are known as the 3 principal aspects of the path. And in your life, okay, now that you, with not just you, me also, all of us, we got the opportunity to meet with these teachings, this text, so 3 principal aspects of the path. In future, make it a point that in a life, to give a greatest meaning to your life, just see that if these 3 things are there, These three things are there in your practice. And you can go anywhere, any tradition, it doesn't matter. You can go to, say, the Chinese tradition, Tibetan tradition. Within Tibetan tradition, you can go to Sakya, Kakyu, Nyingma, you can go anywhere. As long as you are doing these three, what are you doing includes these three things, you are in the proper path. And you can do the Vipassana meditation, you can do anything as long as these three things are there. If these three things are not there, it's incomplete path. So therefore, this is something which is so important, the three principal aspects of the path. And I remember when I was in my, I think, like 20s, during His Holiness's public teachings, His Holiness very clearly indicated that as we say, this is what His Holiness recites every day. And it's just like a mirror for us. And they say how the Lama Tsongkhapa taught these three principal paths here is in ways of three components for each of the three principal paths, with three components. What are the three components? For example, it's a renunciation, and then you apply the same thing to bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness. For renunciation, the three components with which it is taught here. Number one, why to cultivate renunciation? Why do we have to cultivate renunciation? Number one. Number two, how to cultivate the renunciation. Number three, what is the measure of having cultivated renunciation? These three things. That's amazing, extremely comprehensive. Okay, number one. What's number one? Why to cultivate renunciation? Why? Then number two, how to, if you want to know, yes, it's very important. There's a reason there. We have to cultivate renunciation. The next question is how to cultivate it. Once you know how to cultivate it, you practice it, and then what is the measure of having cultivated renunciation? The 3 points. Likewise for the bodhicitta, why to cultivate bodhicitta, how to cultivate bodhicitta, and what is the measure of having cultivated bodhicitta? Okay, anyone who can apply this to the wisdom of emptiness? Anyone? Yes, Raviji? Wonderful. Why to cultivate the wisdom of emptiness, how to cultivate the wisdom of emptiness, and what's the measure of having cultivated the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, and say one thing, just for information, is that the style of composition of Lama Tsongkhapa is that where unnecessary, he will not even say utter an extra word. He will just skip all the unnecessary things. What is necessary, he will be there to go into deep, detailed. So with this, for example, like in some cases, for example, renunciation, Lama Tsongkhapa explains in great detail each one of these 3 points. And let's say the third one, the measure of having cultivated the renunciation. So for this, and you apply the same to the bodhicitta. Whatever the Lama Tsongkhapa said, that days and nights you don't crave after the sensual desires, or you don't crave after the desire of the samsara. Instead, you desire to be freed from samsara days and night. At that point, you have generated renunciation. So, having the Lama Tsongkhapa having said this for the renunciation, then for bodhicitta he don't say this. You have to just extend this. Days and nights, if the bodhicitta is very spontaneous within you, may I become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. When it becomes so spontaneous, days and nights within you, then you have generated bodhicitta. So this, given that is easily what you can extend to bodhicitta, so he did not really, what is the measure of having generated bodhicitta. So you take it from renunciation. Okay, ready? The 3 principal aspects of the path by Lama Tsongkhapa. I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. As well as I am able, I will explain the essence of all the teachings of the Buddha, the path praised by the conqueror's children, the entrance for those who desire liberation. Okay, conqueror's children. Conqueror means the Buddhas, the Buddha who conquered all the mental defilements. The the beings who already conquered all the mental defilements is known as the conqueror. Okay, in Tibetan it is Gyalwa. Gyalwa means victor, the one who gained victory over all the mental defilements. A conqueror, victor, referring to Buddha, and conqueror's children meaning the bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas, for example, the king's son is the one who eventually will become king. Likewise, the bodhisattvas will eventually become the Buddhas. So conqueror's children meaning bodhisattvas. Okay, let's read this again. As well as I'm able, I'll explain the essence of all the teachings of the Buddha, the path praised by the conqueror's children, entrance for those who desire liberation. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones who are not attached to the joys of cyclic existence. Strive to make good use of leisure and opportunity, and direct your minds to the path that pleases the Buddhas. Without pure renunciation, an end to attraction for the pleasure of cyclic existence is unattainable. The craving for existence also binds beings. Thus from the outset seek renunciation. Reverse attraction to this life, but reflect on how leisure and opportunity are difficult to find and how life is ephemeral and without span. Reverse attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karmas and its effects and the miseries of samsara. Contemplating thus, when for an instant you do not admire the splendors of cyclic existence and remain intent on liberation day and night, renunciation is born in you then. Renunciation, if not tempered by pure mind of bodhicitta, however, will not bring forth the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise ones generate the excellent mind of bodhicitta, swept up in the current of the four powerful rivers, tied by strong bonds of karma so hard to undo, caught in the iron net of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, born and reborn in boundless cyclic existence, ceaselessly tormented by the three miseries, thinking of your mothers in this condition, generate the supreme mind of bodhicitta. Although you train in renunciation and the mind of bodhicitta, without wisdom that realizes the ultimate reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic existence. Therefore, strive to understand dependent arising. One who sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena in samsara and nirvana and destroys all focus of apprehension has entered the path which pleases the Buddhas. Emptiness is understanding that is free of assertions. As long as these two are seen as distinct, you have not yet realized the intent of the Buddhas. When these two realizations are concurrent, where the mere sight of infallible dependent origination concurrently destroys all modes of grasping through definite discernment, at that time the analysis of the profound view is perfected. Furthermore, appearances refute the extreme of existence, emptiness refutes the extreme of non-existence. When I understand that emptiness arises in the form of cause and effect, you are not captivated by the view of extremes. O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination and quickly reach the final aspired goal. Okay. And also there is I remember his Holiness saying that the verse 14, the last verse, when he said this, if you can imagine that Lama Tsongkhapa is actually addressing to you, oh my child, when he said it, just if you can imagine that actually Lama Tsongkhapa was talking to you, addressing to you as my child. And if you could feel that, his Holiness said that you build a very strong karmic connection, that in future you will actually take birth there under the blessings, under the care of Lama Tsongkhapa, under the guidance, under the instructions, teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa. So this is is a very auspicious thing. And when it says here, "O my child, once you have thus realized the points of three principal paths, seek solitude." So here the solitude is to stay away. If possible, physical solitude, meaning that to go to a place. Once you have these three principal aspects so well ingrained in your mind in terms of knowledge and reflection, and you need more time to actually see them in your being, to imbibe them in your being. Or for that matter, you need a little bit of isolation, that you get more free time for yourself, where the busyness is not there, So solitude. And nowadays, people really to seek solitude is very difficult, because you have to seek your own earning. You have to live. You have to you need some way by which to sustain yourself. So for that, the solitude here is solitude yourself from too much interaction with the unnecessary, the reasons, unnecessary purposes, unnecessary works. So what is necessary to do it, otherwise cut yourself off from, the unnecessary meeting with people, too much of the birthday parties, or get this person gathering, that gathering, this gathering, just cut off from all these things. Oh, hello, right? And then your friends call you. Now we'll go to have a cup of tea in the Starbucks. It's all just waste of time. And your waste of time and the other person's waste of time. So these steps, solitude, is to cut off yourself from unnecessary engagements. Okay, let's read the stanza, verse 14 once more. And imagine, just see if you can imagine that Lama Tsongkhapa was actually addressing this to you. O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination, and quickly reach the final aspired goal. Okay. Now let us read the 7-limb puja practice, page 37. Page 37, a 7-limb practice. A 7-limb practice excerpts from the King of Prayers, the extraordinary aspiration of the practice of Samadhi. I bow down to the youthful Arya Manjushri. You are the Buddhas, the lions amongst humans, gone to freedom in the present, past and future, in the worlds of 10 directions. To all of you with body, speech and sincere mind, I bow down. With the energy or aspiration for the Bodhisattva way, with a sense of deep respect, and with as many bodies as atoms of the world, to all you Buddhas visualized as real, I bow down. On every practice, particles, each of them is a host of Bodhisattvas. I am confident the sphere of all phenomena is entirely filled with Buddhas in this way. With infinite oceans of praise for you and oceans of sound from the aspects of my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas and celebrate all of you Sugātas. Beautiful flowers in regal gardens, sweet music, scented oils and parasols, sparkling lights and sublime incense, I offer to you victorious ones of Buddhas. Fine dress and fragrant perfumes, sandalwood powder, a spectacular array offered to you victorious ones. With transcendent offerings, peerless and vast, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, offer I've done with my body, speech and mind, overwhelmed by attachment, anger and ignorance. All this I openly lay bare before you. I lift my heart and rejoice in all the merits of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions, of solitude realizers, hearers still training and those beyond, and of all ordinary beings. You who are the bright lights of the worlds in 10 directions, have attained the Buddha's omniscience through the stages of awakening. All you who are my guides, please turn the supreme wheel of Dharma. With palms together, I earnestly request you who may actualize parinirvana, please stay with us for eons, numberless as atoms of the world, for the happiness and well-being of all wanderers in samsara. Whatever slight merit I may have accumulated by making prostrations, offering and confessing, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddha stay in teach, I now dedicate all this for the full awakening of all beings. A short mantle offering. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru. Okay, page 40. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha filled and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. O Sajebe Geshe Dorji May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practices on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is free of flaws. May I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. Becoming utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps at true existence, please bless me to generate genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me to see that my mind stream overflows with the precious wisdom of the non-duality of bliss and emptiness. Edam Guru Radna Mandela Gamne Rateyami. Okay, the foundation of all good qualities. Lama Tsongkhapa. The foundation of all good qualities is a kind and perfect guru, pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtuous and non-virtuous karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me to always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is a door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into samsara, so fall Mother migratory beings. Please bless me to see this trained in Supreme Bodhicitta and bear the responsibility of migratory beings. Even if I develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of come abiding special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the two stages, as is Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all out and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Mixama mantra. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, a Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, disturb hosts of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of the snows, so Losanta by your feet and make prostrations. Okay, now generating the mode of consummate yoga in Tibet. For this, the 4 points to practice, the main practice. Okay, so why we are doing all this morning practice is to learn and how can we design your own daily practice in your life. So the actual practice should be constituted of these 4 things: single point of meditation, renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness, and then take the bodhisattva vow. So if you do this, if this is what you can do in your life on a daily basis, that is the extraction of the greatest meaning out of life. Okay, yeah. So first, the single point of meditation, what we discussed yesterday. I'm going to quickly give the instruction today. So the next 3 days, no instruction. Why do we do that? To refresh what we did yesterday, that for this single point of meditation, the 4 points to keep in mind: the body posture, focal point, what? Identifying the errors of meditation. Number 4, applying the remedies to overcome the errors. Good. Body posture, cross-legged posture. If you can do that, this is the best. If not, don't force yourself, but try your best. Whereas if you have knee problems, the kneecap replacement, surgery and so forth, don't force yourself. Don't do that. And if you have backache problem, don't do that. Okay, this is one thing. The next part is a body upright. This is extremely important. But whereas if you have the backache problem, again, you're exempted. Otherwise, if you don't have the backache problem, and if you lean against the support or with a hunchback, this is not good. You can see that your mind becomes very sluggish. Okay, so the body should be upright and yet flexible. It should not be rigid. Then your head tilted forward a little bit and your eyes not closed. Your eyes half open and 45 degrees cast down and ignore. And the tip of the tongue should touch the upper palate to avoid excessive accumulation of saliva in your mouth. Breathe normally and the teeth and the lips in their natural course. Breathe normally. Don't don't force the breath. Don't control the breath. And your right hand on the left hand, the two thumbs joining, forming triangle, and place the two hands on your lap in restful state. This is your body posture. Next, focal point. What should you be meditating? Meditating on. There are so many meditation objects, and what we're going to do is a simple yet very beneficial. And that is, the first one is a tiny white dot like 2 mm, 3 mm in diameter between your nose and upper lip. And while doing this, multitasking, count a breath. Breath in, breath out, cycle 1, breath in, breath out, cycle 2. This is what we're going to do for 5 minutes. In other words, multitasking. The two things should happen together. And simply because you cannot do it effectively within the next 1 week, this does not mean that you have to give up try. And within a span of like 3 weeks, 1 month, still if you cannot manage, then you can go for one of these two, not necessarily multitasking. Go for one of these two, whichever you find is easier. Okay, so this is your focal point. Number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation. So 2 errors can happen: mental laxity, which is the inactivity of the mind, and then mental excitement, overactivity of the mind. In other words, mental scattering, distraction, and so forth, versus the mind feeling sloppy, sleepy, sinking, heavy, lethargic. And these are the two, let's say, the two mental states which make the mind very imbalanced. And we must learn how to maintain the mind, keep very fresh and alert, while not distracted, but not sleepy. Okay, and we are prone to go to one of these two problems. If it does happen, no need to worry. Just go for number 4. Apply the remedies to overcome the errors. And what kind of remedies? 2. Introspection, mindfulness. And introspection is to keep an eye on your mind to see whether it is still meditating, or it is already distracted, or it is in a lax state. And should you see that it is in a lax state or in a sleepy state, then go for the mindfulness. With the rope of the mindfulness, bring the mind back to the intended object of meditation. Ready? 5 minutes. take a few seconds rest before we move to renunciation. Are you ready? For the renunciation, we do this on the basis of the practice of 4 seals. Ready? Okay. First, given that this is an analytical meditation and it's going to be also guided meditation, you are expected to just follow the instructions and see to the best you can to invoke the experiences. First, renunciation. The meaning of the renunciation is to renounce your miseries. To renounce the miseries, we need to know how to renounce the causes of the miseries. The Buddha taught, Ye Dharma Hedu Prabhava. This is the wise person's approach. To remove the miseries, you need to learn and eventually remove the causes of the miseries, without which, no matter however much you put effort, they will all go in vain. To get into the cause of the miseries, given that the miseries are all rooted to self-grasping ignorance, and ignorance in the first place, and then more precisely self-grasping ignorance, we need to resort to the remedies to overcome all these versions of ignorance. And the Buddha identified 3 kinds of ignorance, the 4 kinds of ignorance, mainly responsible for our miseries. To overcome these 4 levels of ignorance, the Buddha taught the 4 seals. First, all composite things are impermanent. Composite things which are composed of material parts and temporal parts. In other words, impermanent phenomena, all composite phenomena should necessarily be governed by the reality of impermanence. So the impermanence of which is of 2 kinds, gross and subtle. Gross, the continuum of which comes to an end. It's very important for us to meditate on the gross impermanence of death, that we are bound, we are doomed to leave this world. And at the same time, when we leave this world is uncertain. Certainty of the death and the uncertainty of the time of death. This is reality. And knowing this will make our life way easier, will just stop all these unnecessary engagements with the mundane activities. Where the Buddha taught, youth is followed by old age, good health is followed by sickness, and birth is followed by death. What accumulates is followed by exhaustion. What stands is followed by a fall. So this is reality. All composite things are of impermanent nature. And we see that your near and dear ones, they leave us. It's very painful. And eventually everyone has to leave. The people 200 years ago, for sure here in Bodh Gaya, there were so many people, and for one point, say like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when His Holiness was giving Shri Kalachakra empowerment here, there are lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of people here. And likewise, in the early days, at the time of Aranagarjuna and these great teachers there must be so many people around this. So where all these people now, the people, the animals, insects, where they, not even a single one is left today. They've all left the world. whether the parents see whether or not the parents have seen their children, they accomplish what they expect from the children, and the children also having their own dreams of their career, the future, whether the dreams they accomplish or not accomplish, they are all gone. Not even a single person left today. 100 years down the line in the future, the people who are alive today, let's say 150 years in the future from now, the 8 billion human beings, today the world is almost hitting 8 billion, the 8 billion in population. Guaranteed not even a single person will be left then. And out of these, only a few will be remembered. Otherwise, most of us, the next and next generations, will not even have a clue that somebody existed as by the name you, me, and so forth, existed like 200 years before, attended the Bodhicitta retreat here in Root Institute. No clue at all then. This is the impermanence. That's true. And sometimes the whole town, the next day, in the night, is all washed away by the tsunami, washed away by the landslide, washed away by the flood and so forth. And the next day is totally quiet. So no life existing. This is impermanence. And instead of enjoying the sunset, let us remember, use this as an opportunity for us to remember impermanence. The beautiful sunset, how beautiful sunset is, within a few minutes, it's all gone. Impermanence. Then there's a meaning there, there's a purpose there. And what is impermanent, what constitutes the gross impermanence should necessarily, not only gross, all impermanent phenomena should necessarily involve transitoriness, momentarily changing. And the change that you see in 1 year or 10 years is possible only if there's a change happening on the annual basis, which is possible only if there's a change happening on the monthly basis, weekly basis, daily basis, hourly basis, minute by minute basis, second by second basis, millisecond by millisecond basis. Yes, it becomes subtler, subtler. This is reality. Why we don't see these subtle changes is because our eyes are so gross and our physical senses are so gross. They do not have that provision to see these subtle changes, but the reality is very different. Our eyes are simply blurred from seeing the reality out there. And through this analysis, we come to feel that yes, this is reality, that this subtle changes, subtle impermanence governs the whole universe. If you have to get a glimpse of how the composite phenomena they undergo momentary changes, is very scary. No doubt it will give a great sense of urgency within the mind, like you being thrown in a very fast-moving train. Faster train moves, the more the fear, not knowing where the train is taking you. Likewise, faster you see the body, your body, the world, your mind, your parents, your children, your family members, they move so fast. Where they're moving? Moving towards living the world, moving towards death. And this is very true. And then what? Where are we going eventually? That all is determined by the driver. In our case, the driver is the mind, but this driver is under the dictate of the two worst contamination, which is self-grasping ignorance. And this worst of the contamination, when tempered, when influenced by the self-centered attitude, then it will give rise to all the worst of the other contaminations, the very gross contaminations in the form of the three poisons: attachment, aversion, ignorance, further giving rise to all the contaminated karmas. Negative karmas give rise to the acutely painful experiences, sickness, aging, death, tension, so forth. This is what Buddha indicated as all contaminated things are suffering nature. And one moment of suffering, one moment of tragedy, in fact, is good enough to nullify all the past merriments, past joys and merriments, the festivities, celebrations, birthday parties and so forth, you will see that in the eyes of this experience of that one moment of tragedy, that all the past, the wonders and the happiness are seen as so shallow, gloomy, bait-like and meaningless. Yes. And when will this stop? When will these tears stop? 2021 stopped on its own. When will these tears stop for me? They will never stop until we put a concerted effort. What kind of effort is required? Yes, effort to get rid of the root cause of the miseries. What is that effort? Given that the root cause is the ignorance, effort must be the counterforce, the wisdom. What kind of wisdom? The wisdom to see that the wisdom by the very definition is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. What's the reality? The reality is what the Buddha indicated as the third seal. Everything is the nature, emptiness, selflessness. Okay, today we'll quickly meditate on the emptiness of a person to whom you feel so close to, like your children, like your parents, like your husband, wife, or anybody who you feel as so close. And see how this meditation dispels our attachment to this person. Excessive attachment to this person. Okay, just bring to visualization the person to whom you feel so close to. And how does this person appear to you? Like a dream? Like a movie being projected by the movie projector? Or as so solidly there, or as so objectified, so solidified there from the object? Of course, so solidified, so objectified there from the object. This is known as self-grasping ignorance, seeing things as object real. And how to know that this ignorance, that this is not a wisdom, this is not a valid mind? Remember what Arinigarjuna said, if the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Likewise, if this self were to exist objectively from the object, why don't I see this self why don't I see this person to whom I love as I go closer to this object? Okay, now let us go closer to this object. Going closer to the object, we see that there is the thin layer of the skin, which is not the person. Behind that, the fatty tissues. Behind that, the cartilages, the muscles, the heart, and the lungs, the spleen, the gallbladder, the stomach, the intestine, and the liver, the whole skeleton. And these solid parts constitute the element earth. Element earth is not this person. Next, element water. 4 liters of blood, which is pumped in and out by the heart to the different parts of the body. Of course, that is not this person. Element of fire. 2,500 joules of energy that each one of us has. Of course, that is not that person. Element of air. 4.6 liters of air that the person breathes in and out by the lungs. That's not that person. Element of space. 99.9% of the body of the person is vacuum, is empty. But the space, the person is a solid in nature. Space is vacuum in nature. Even the space is also not that person. The consciousness or the mind. The person is a male, the person is a female. The mind does not have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of the body. And we can see that person, we cannot see the person's mind. So the person's consciousness or the mind is also not a person. Okay, so now coming too close to the person, what do you see? I just see the 6 elements, element earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. Which of the 6 elements is to be identified as the self, intrinsically as the self, intrinsically as one with the self? None of the 6 elements to be identified as intrinsically one with the self, or to be identified as the self. Okay. See if the self can be identified is different from these 6 elements. Remove the 6 elements. What is left? Nothing is left there. Which means the self is not different from the 6 elements as well, nor being intrinsically one with the 6 elements. Now from the object, you have come too close to the object. Where is the self? The self is totally non-existent. It dissolves, it disappears. And this is not what your mind is exaggerating. This is not what your mind is fabricating. This is what your mind is discovering. It's not your invention, it's a discovery. Which means that this is reality which existed since time immemorial. Only thing is that we are now discovering it. We fail to see this till now, but now we are discovering it. Okay, good. Wow, this is a wonderful experience where that person dissolves. That person whom I love so much, that person dissolves in the experience. It's quite scary though. Okay, now just think of how you react to this person. When you earlier saw this person, there's so much of affection and love and attachment. What happens to this emotional attachment? That also disappears. Okay. Yes, that's good, but then what's the ultimate benefit of this meditation? Yes, just as this person dissolves and your emotional attachment dissolves, all your unpleasant experiences like sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, and anguish, and sorrows, if you subject them to the same analysis, you see that they will also be discovered to be non-existent from the object. All your mental agitation subsides, and the feeling of lightness will dawn in you, the feeling of absolute peace will dawn in you, the tranquility will dawn in you. This is what you've never experienced before. For the first time, you're experiencing these. This is what the Buddha identified as the purpose of the meditation emptiness, where the Buddha said that transcending sorrow is absolute peace. Stay in this experience for a while. In the experience of emptiness, all your sorrows dissolve and absolute peace dawns. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, just generate a very strong wish to experience this emptiness, where all your miseries dissolve. This aspiration is the final understanding of renunciation. May I experience this, the very profound emptiness where all my sorrows and miseries dissolve and the ultimate happiness is experienced, ultimate peace is dawned within me. That is the renunciation. Okay, slowly come out of this. Let us take a few seconds before we switch to the bodhicitta. Are you ready? Okay, bodhicitta. For the bodhicitta, of course we are yet to teach on the bodhicitta, but what we do is that we'll do the 4 vegetables, and once you learn the 2 methods, I would highly recommend each one of us to use these 2 methods to practice bodhicitta. Finally, your happiness, the degree of the happiness, the expansiveness and the profundity of the happiness is determined by to what extent you meditate on bodhicitta. If you don't practice bodhicitta after learning all these things, there's no point. As you practice it, of course it's not going to be what you will experience within the span of the 1 month or 1 year and so forth, but you see that it's growing. Your compassion is growing, your happiness is growing. Okay, ready? We'll do that on the basis of the 4 immeasurables. Again, this is going to be analytical guided meditation, and let us just see how much you can flow your thoughts in line with the instructions given. Given that bodhicitta is extremely precious, and all the bodhisattvas, they see that this is the most precious practice they're going to think of in this universe. So for this, we need great support. Let us seek the blessings. Let us reinforce the visualization of all the Buddhas, bodhisattvas are so loving, caring, and embracing. And your 2 parents, your children, and all Tibet mix with you. Okay. First, immeasurable loving kindness. And at times the practice can be really superficial. It doesn't matter. This is how we begin with the superficiality, and eventually, as you are very sincere with this practice, it will become very spontaneous and very natural. This is the meaning of the practice. Immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear Mother Sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all my dear Mother Sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing the making such. Okay. I will take the responsibility that all my dear Mother Sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing the making such a courageous commitment to take the responsibility to all the beings on their own shoulder, like a mother after all these many years of raising her children. Today, the eldest daughter, just age 12, you as the eldest daughter, age 12, you as the eldest son, age 11, come to the mother and they tell the mother, Mother, please take rest, you have done everything for us, you love us so much, we also love you so much. Now we are grown up, we'll take care of our other siblings. And the mother could not believe her eyes and ears. Tears come from her eyes. She is filled with so much joy and pride in her daughter, in her son. This is exactly what is happening to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, to see that you made such a courageous commitment to take responsibility for all dear sentient beings on the shoulder. And this pride and happiness invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to a sense of nectar is soothing light towards you and all dear sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and nectars with the bodies beings yours instills in all happiness and causes of happiness, the beings, all happiness, the cause of happiness, primarily consisting of the unconditional love of the bodhicitta and the fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness. And you, witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all the dear sentient beings, you are intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sound with relief. Next, immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. The causes of suffering primarily consisting of self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. May all my dear sentient beings be freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing the making such a courageous commitment, they're intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to send forth nectar and soothing lights towards you and all dear sentient beings. The mere touch of lasting nectars with the bodies of beings yours washes away all the miseries and causes of the miseries. And you're witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all the dear sentient beings. Take 3 deep breaths, sound with relief. Immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they endowed with. May all my dear sentient beings never be separated from the happiness and the causes of happiness that they endowed with. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of the happiness that they're endowed with. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing that we are making such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness and proud of you, this pride and happiness invoke their compassionate initial minds to ascend for the nectars of soothing lights towards you and the ultimate sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and nectars will be the mere touch of the lights and nectars with the body brings yours, stabilizes the happiness and the causes of the happiness that the beings are endowed with. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all as dimensional beings, you are intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sighing with relief. Immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings, they are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to a son and aversion towards others, and instead abide in a great state of equanimity, embracing all other dear sentient beings equally, leaving none aside. May all my dear sentient beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to a son and aversion towards others. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to a son and aversion towards others. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing that you are making such a courageous commitment, they intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassionate initial minds to ascend for very soothing lights and nectars towards you and all dear sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and nectars with the bodies and beings is yours, frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to a son and aversion towards others, and instead making them abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other dear sentient beings equally, leaving none aside. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all the dear sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Underscoring all the 4 immeasurables is the unconditional love. And imagine that you abide in this experience of unconditional love towards all the beings. Imagine that you're looking at the eyes of each of the sentient beings with so much love and affection, to the extent that each one of them feels themselves so special in your eyes. Okay, with folded hands, let us make the Bodhisattva commitment together. Be it superficial, it doesn't matter. This is how we practice. Let's say this line 3 times. Try your best to invoke the experience as you say this, as you utter these lines. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Embody this most beautiful mind of bodhicitta, which possibly exists in this universe, and today you have generated this. Now slowly transform this beautiful mind of bodhicitta into a spotless, clean moon disk, horizontally sitting at your heart. Okay, it's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment to become Buddha for all the dear sentient beings. And you know that no matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil comes out of that. Yes, that's true, but I'm not like a handful of sand, instead I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which oil does come out of the Buddha nature within me. And with a concerted effort, this Buddha nature, although it would be unveiled
fundamental defilements and the Buddhahood will be manifested. But how come that it did not manifest since time immemorial till now? Yes, that's true. Thus far, till today, I was being totally deceived by the two demons, self-grasping, ignorant, self-centered attitude. And today, I'm disillusioned by these two, and I'll do everything to exterminate these two demons. How could you do that? But it's sort of a very powerful remedy. What kind of remedy? The non-dual wisdom of emptiness. Okay, what is that like? Let's quickly retrieve the experience of emptiness, which you meditated as the third seal out of the four seals. Okay, emptiness to other person. Okay, the person who you love, just visualize the person who you love so much in front of you. Just see how this person appeared to you. As objective real or as subjective real? Of course, as subject real. This belief that the person is objective real, this is the self-grasping ignorance of that person. This is the root of all the miseries. Okay. How do you know that this ignorance is not a valid mind? Remember, if the person does exist objectively the way he or she appears, remember what Arjuna said, if the mirage were to be water, one of those close by the mirage see water. With a similar token of the same token of reasoning, if this person would exist objectively, why don't I see this person as I go close to the object? Again, that is quite a good with the object. Going close to the object, we end up seeing the six elements, and earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. Okay, now you have to come too close to the object and ending up seeing six elements. Tell me, where is this objective existence person? Which of the six elements? None of the six elements is this person. Okay. Then see if the person still exists objectively real, different from these six elements. Remove the six elements. Where's this person? Nothing is left there as a person. Okay. Now from the object, what is to be identified as a person? Nothing to be identified as the person. The person simply dissolves and experiences of the ultimate analysis. Coming too close to his object, the object dissolves, the person dissolves, that person dissolves. Okay. This is not my invention. This is the discovery that I'm making. Okay, stay in this experience where the person dissolves, experience the emptiness of the person, emptiness of the objective existence of the person. Okay, slowly transform this most fearless mind that possibly exists in the universe, the wisdom of emptiness, of the person who we love so much, into a spotless, clean, white Vajra, thumb-sized white Vajra, vertically sitting on the moon, takes your heart. Okay, that's amazing. Now you have the non-dual bodhicittas, the moon, symbolic of the conventional bodhicitta, the altruistic intention to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings, and the Vajra, symbolic of the ultimate bodhicitta, the non-dual wisdom of the Arya Bodhisattvas, to exterminate all the mental defilements. Okay, this guarantees that your bodhicitta will eventually be manifested fully into a full-fledged Buddhahood. Yes, I'm very fortunate indeed. But what about my parents, children, and all the demon sentient beings? Yes, what's the point? If I experience the ultimate happiness when all my demon sentient beings they suffer, yes, with intense love and compassion towards all the beings, this love and compassion generated invoke the Vajra moon at the heart to multiply infinite number of times. And she has one side of the Vajra moon at the heart of your mother, one side at the heart of your father, one side with each one of your children, one side with each one of the human beings, animals, insects, and the sentient beings here in Bodh Gaya, one with each of the sentient beings in your own country, one with each sentient beings in the whole, the world, Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe. Okay, that's amazing. Meanwhile, let's not forget that all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they're watching us. Yes, why not we request, we invite them to be the witness to our, to be the witness as well as the guests to our undertaking the ceremony of taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. As a gesture of making the request, along with all the other sentient beings, let us slowly stand up to make 3 prostrations to all Bodhisattvas. Okay, see if you can sit on your right knees. Okay, on your right knees to take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. Page 50. Okay, let us reinforce the visualization of all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas space in front of us. So loving, caring, embracing. That imagine that you as a young child, little girl or little boy, age 4 or 5 or age 6, for the first time in your life making public appearance on behalf of your school, and your parents, whatever work that they have for today, they left it behind to join the audience, to give a moral support to you, waving their hands to you. And you, as the eldest child, you bring with you all the siblings, all the relationships with you to do this, to take this aspiration Bodhisattva vow, which is so precious. This is exactly what is happening to all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, like your parents. They leave everything behind. They just come here with so much love and affection, and to feeling so proud of what you're doing today. And imagine that you are leading this, the ceremony, and all the dear sentient beings are happily joining you in taking this aspiration Bodhisattva vow. And the commitment that you have at the most is that from today onwards, I'll try my best and to be to be beneficial, helpful to other people, and if not, at least not to harm others. So if you can commit to this much, then you're entitled to take this aspiration Bodhisattva vow. Okay, and given that tomorrow is going to be a very important day for all of us, it's going to be a great day for us, taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow on the Vulture's Peak, where the Buddha taught so many times, and also in the Nalanda, the erstwhile Nalanda University there. So today is going to be like a rehearsal for us, and as we recite these verses, make sure that the meanings are reflected. And okay, today let's see if you can reflect on the meanings without me having to explain this, and of course tomorrow I'll try to explain it, because without reflecting on the meanings, then the purpose is going to be the lesson. Okay, try best to reflect on meanings. And you're leading this, and all beings are joining you, and all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, with great excitement and happiness, they're watching what we are doing. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in virtues, all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in virtues, all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in virtues, all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please be here to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta,
Just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, our General Mother Bodhicitta and Lama shall too successfully train in the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the Mother Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise all sentient beings, our General Mother Bodhicitta and Lama shall too successfully train in the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the Mother Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, our General Mother Bodhicitta and Lama shall too successfully train in the Bodhisattva practices. Oh, you feel the joy of having received that Bodhisattva vow, feel the joy. And the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they are so proud of us today. And just imagine that you as a young child, young girl, young boy, always bringing embarrassment to the mother, and the mother always receiving complaints from the school teacher. And today, for the first time, the school principal comes, and your mother is so apprehensive. Again, what kind of complaints? And the school principal says, no, today I came here to congratulate you. What for? For what? That your daughter and the son, two of them, are appointed the best students of this school for this year. And the mother could not believe her eyes, and yes, this is exactly what has happened to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They are so proud to see that you have done, you are doing something so good today. After all these many lifetimes of doing bad things, which only brought the sadness and embarrassment to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they feel so helpless. And today they're extremely proud of what you've done today. This pride and the joy that they feel, imagine that they invoke the Vajra moon at the hearts of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas to multiply infinite number of times. Like rain shower, and these replicas of the Vajra moon descend to merge with the one that you visualize in your heart, thereby becoming non-dual, stabilized and blessed. Likewise, all these replicas of Vajra moon from the hearts of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they descend like rain shower. They descend to merge with the one that you visualize at the heart of your mother, and of the father, at the heart of each one of your children, and all the dear sentient beings, all these trillions and trillions of the creatures in the ocean, trillions and trillions of oceans, and the creatures in the forest, and in all the infinite and the world systems in the universe. Everyone has the Vajra moon which we have shared with them. They are being blessed by the Vajra moon from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, thereby becoming non-dual, stabilized and blessed. Okay, this is amazing. So in your life, just think of what you've done. So if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 60s, 70s, whatever your age, just all these many years from what you've done, believe it or not, what you've done today is the one which makes the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas most proud of. And this is the meaning of the extracting or giving a meaning to your own life. And today you did it. And also of all the presents, the gifts that you can give to all the dear sentient beings, this is the greatest of the gift. And today you gifted them with this very precious gift by taking this action, Bodhisattva vow. And all the offerings that you can think of making to all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, the Buddha made it very clear that they're more precious than offering the whole universe filled with the gems, all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. More precious than this is one moment of generation compassion. If this were to be the case, what I mentioned of our having taken the full-fledged aspiration Bodhisattva vow. So, this is the greatest meaning out of life, and this is the greatest offering that you have offered, you have made to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And all this happens because of the kindness of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking them, again, along with all the sentient beings, let us slowly stand up to make 3 prostrations to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
Okay, let's turn to page 51. This verse, as I explained yesterday, the first verse. This is for us to connect with the same practice, the same teaching of bodhicitta, wisdom and emptiness in the future lifetimes. So for this, it must be a heartfelt, very strong prayer said. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. In order to further increase this bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have literally seized and awakened a mind in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of the Buddha, and now I'm one of Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakened mind has been born within me. It is a supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. The supreme medicine that quells the world's disease is a tree that shelters all beings wandering and tired on the path of conditioned existence. It is a universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. The dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions. It is a great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. It is the quintessential butter from the churning of the milk of the Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and it shall place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I invite the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight. May gods, demigods, and all be joyful. Okay, division prayer. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the teachings and the prayers of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas for 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine, scripture, and insight. May in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect in the 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the shield-leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eyes planted with ignorance. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata